I like how we vibe. 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 I like how we vibe.
This video is sponsored by our channel sponsor, which is 015. You can find them on 015.co.za for some premium web hosting from as little as 45 Rand 90 cents. I mean, 45.90. Think about it. That's not a lot. And you will get some premium domains. And I personally would advise you on getting maybe the Supreme or the Executive packs, because it comes with a lot of benefits and a lot more storage. And you can host multiple websites on one package, you know. And this is, since we are talking businesses and growing your businesses, you can actually get your business registered by them. And there's some benefits, you know. You can get a name reservation, company registration, a certificate, income tax number, and you can even get a free.co.za domain if you pick one of the higher packages, or you can get a free QuickBooks subscription for 3 months. For 3 months. Yo, that's nice. You know, that's really, really nice. And if you want a website, they can actually develop a website for you at a very affordable rate of starting from 2,100, excluding VAT, I think. But it's not a lot. Think about it. 2,100. You spend a lot more on other things. But yeah, and once again, executive plans and supreme plans, you literally get free domains. They, for the first year, they are literally out here trying to win you guys over. Anyway, let's continue with the video. Let's do a quick recap. We've captured invoices that affect assets, and then we've captured 2 different types of invoices that affect cost of sales, and 1 that affects general expenses or operating expenses. So as it stands, we've got 4 different transactions, right? Suppliers. Now, just like we did with customers, we are going to make a supplier payment. Agreed? Agreed. We're going to add a supplier payment. There's 2 different ways of doing this, and it's the same as you would have in customers, but I'm going to start this way, and I already know what I'm doing here, so I'm going to press cancel. And then I'm going to select Tom's. And then I'm going to pay Tom's. I'm going to pay them 5,000 Rand because it's been a good month. The reference is going to be PXN. Payment date, it's going to be on the 2nd. Cool. Payment method, it's EFT. When we added the supplier, I should have actually changed the payment method to EFT. So it's going to leave it as cash, but for now I'm going to say EFT. So I'm going to say process. And remember, when I added the supplier, I said it must allocate to the newest transaction. So now if we go to supplier and we say supplier invoices, you'll see the first invoice is paid. The second invoice is partially paid, meaning it allocated the 5,000 Rand first to this invoice, and then it allocated to the second invoice. So that's what happens when you add a supplier and then you say it must automatically pay the oldest invoice first. So now, Tembi service, I want to pay them here. I want to do a create a payment. And yeah, everything here I'm happy with. I'm just going to change this to EFT. And I'm paying Tembi the full amount. go back to Supplier Invoices. Both of these invoices have been paid. Silas. Now for Silas, let's say the client was not necessarily happy with that specific master, so I have to rework it. And I communicated with Silas and I told him, listen, the client is not too happy with that, but I'm willing to pay you a portion. So because to maintain a good relationship, I decided to take 200 Rand out of my own pocket and pay him for that. So then I'm gonna press save. The date, let's say the client only told me this on the last day of last month, so 31st. So then I'm gonna say process and save. As you can see, I've created a supplier return. So with supplier returns, for anything that you return back to the supplier, like it says, whether products are faulty or you're not too happy with something and they allow you to return it after a certain period, you just capture it here. And then you go back to Supplier Invoices. Now, what is due to Silas, because we did a return of 200 Rand. Sorry, I made a mistake. When I said I'm going to pay him 200 Rand, I meant there was going to be a return of 200 Rand. And I'm willing to pay him 150 Rand just to maintain a good relationship. So then I'm going to go here and then say create a payment. And I'm going to make a payment of that, and then I'm going to process it just like we've been doing so far. So we made 3 payments. And then I'm going to go back to transactions. Let's say I do a batch payment. Let's go back to purchase orders. Actually, I should have started with purchase orders, but we are here. So let's do a purchase order. Let's say you're buying equipment. Some companies require a purchase order before they can process it. I know Xerox is one of them. So I'll add a purchase order. Cancel this. Let's say this purchase order is for Tom's and I'm upgrading my studio. And this is on the 2nd also, after I've made a payment. I decide to go and get, let's say, account, asset. I'm gonna do equipment. I'm gonna buy a new keyboard. I mean a MIDI key. So MIDI keyboard for about 5,000 Rand excluding VAT. And then I'm gonna do another equipment account. So I'm gonna do another fixed asset equipment. I'm gonna buy sound card, and that sound card 4,500 excluding VAT. And then I'm gonna do another account and I'm gonna do fixed asset also, non-current. And then I'm buying a new mic, and with that mic it cost me a cool 7 grand excluding VAT. Yeah, so that's 18,000 Rand. Once again, Tom's and I were cool. I think they're gonna give me 15%, but I'm not gonna put this in here. We'll do it some other place. So I'm gonna leave it blank for now. Then I'm gonna say save, right? That's the purchase order. Now I'm going to action it. I'm going to create an invoice with it. And then I've spoken to somebody from Tom's. They said they're going to give me 15%. So I'll take my 15%. And that's how much it is. So it's 16,000. And I'm going to go through and press save. Now I've created an invoice, right? Right. And then I know I've already done this, but I want to show you another way of doing this. So now I'm going to go to transactions and do a supplier return. I'm going to add a supplier return. Here I'm going to select Tom's, right? And then I'm going to select the type of from which invoice I want to do the return from, which is the 16,000 Rand one. Now I want to return what was this? Let me actually see what this was. MIDI keyboard, sound card. Let's say I'm returning sound card, because we all know that some sound cards don't necessarily work the way they're supposed to. So I'm going to return that. So I'm going to keep everything else, but I'm going to return the sound card. So I'm going to remove the MIDI keyboard, and I'm going to delete the mic. So then I'm left with the sound card, right? Yes. So then I'm going to press save. Now we've created two returns. This one was the 200 Rand for Silas, and then now we've got another 4,000 something for Tom's, right? And then we go back to suppliers, transactions, supplier invoices. The amount, it says partially paid. Because we did that return, it seems it as a purchase of some sort, so it's partially returned. We've got two invoices for Tom's. I'm gonna pay this one. I'm gonna pay this one. Create payment. So I am paying this one, and I'm gonna pay with my credit card because I just went to FNB and they gave me a nice credit limit. So I'm gonna pay with my credit card, pay the full amount, and then I'm gonna process. Excuse me. And I've made a payment. So now they all come out paid. I'm then gonna go back to supplier invoices. As you can see, a lot of things you can do from this module, from this section. So I would advise you to familiarize yourself with this section. This is like the best place to be if you want to create something, or you want to pay something, or you want to return something. You can literally just do it from here. These are literally your best friends. These little options here, the action options, they're your best friends. So partially paid here, you see I can edit, print, etc, etc. I can even view the history. So then I'm going to go to transactions, supply adjustments, add a supply adjustment. I'm going to say Tom's. Decrease. So Tom's, they said to me, Sean, you've been good to us, so you owe us this much. We're going to give you a credit note of some sort. We're literally just going to get rid of this whole your debt. So I'm going to say that, click on that, then I'm going to process. Where's by effecting? Sorry, I didn't see that. So by effecting it, remember, you should have remembered where exactly did this invoice come from. And if memory serves me correct, this invoice 1050 would have been for the monitors. So I'm gonna go to repairs and maintenance, and then from there I'm gonna process. And that's that. Now if we go back to supplier transactions, supplier invoices, everybody's paid. So that return did it reduced everything. Now if we view history, it shows you that it literally shows you what happened. I created the invoice, I partially paid it, and then I made an adjustment to it, and as a result it got to 0. So that's what happened. And yeah, that's everything that I would like. The rest of the stuff your accountant should be able to do for you as somebody who's trying to get started and do the basics. This is all I would suggest, So this is it, and yeah, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe.